Hello and welcome to the Premiere Podcast. I'm your favorite bartender and your new favorite host, Carousel Catherine. And today I am joined by Seth Olson, the founder of the Breaking Darkness Music Festival, a multi-band Christian rock music event designed to promote unity, fellowship, hope, and redemption, and raise money and awareness for Christian outreach. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I'm just kind of involved actively, got going with music here with my wife. We have a band called Counter, and so we're going to be playing the festival. We've been playing around the area for a while and just kind of involved with different things. We started talking to some of the other bands that, some of which are going to be in the event, about just coming around to do a show, playing at a bar and things like that. And when we did that, we just decided we didn't want to just make it small, we wanted to make it really big. So we just started this about 3 years ago.
So what inspired you to start Breaking Darkness specifically as something that is Christian rock metal? Because that's not something that you necessarily see normally whenever you're thinking like recovery and Christianity and all of that. You don't see rock and metal.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Actually, there's a lot of events like this out in the Midwest, and then the areas like that, and in the West. So there's just was kind of a thing where there wasn't anything right now. I think maybe years ago they had it, but right now there really wasn't anything in the Southeast like this. So I was like, if they can do it, we can do it.
Well, we definitely love having you here. So 2025 was your second annual festival. What did you learn between that first year and this second year that's going to shape now your third year that you're going to be doing this?
Yeah, well, the big thing that we learned off the first year was that, the production value and the lighting and everything like that had to be top notch. We had an issue the first year where some bands had a setting one way and the other bands had a different setting, and so it really kind of affected a little bit of the overall show. I learned a lot about promoting it. I learned a lot about negotiating with booking people and just kind of getting to know more of the bands. And so last year was just incredible that we were able to have it here, and we were able to really expand it and bring in like a food truck and make it this big long day event, as opposed to the first year was just a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely happy to have you here, and it was just such a big event last year, and so good. And people still are circulating and talking about it here whenever they're around. So in running this, how did you decide on the beneficiaries, the Bethel Colony of Mercy, Safe Harbor, and Recovery NC? And what's your relationship like with those organizations?
So Bethel Colony especially, they've been involved since the first show. Now that was the other thing I learned too, is when I first was doing it, I was trying to really help a lot of different people I could. So we actually had 5 charities the first year, which was just a little too difficult to make an impact as far as taking the ticket money and giving it out to 5 versus 3. So basically, the Bethel Colony especially is really all about what the theme of the show is about, which is really helping people just kind of overcome addiction. People who think like there's no way out and that they're just stuck in this terrible place. Like I've heard it said, a lot of people are hanging by a thread, and the thread itself is on fire. So they're able to really work with people like that through their programs, and just getting involved with how the Lord can bring them through these dark times that they think that there's not a way. And so I learned about them really from people I worked with, and then as I got to know them, then I learned about other groups that were doing similar things.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. On the topic of addiction and recovery, how did you get that as your focus? What made you decide to choose that as the focus of this, and what does Breaking Darkness mean to you in that context?
Yeah, so it just kind of started, like I said, it was just something that we were into as far as when we would go out and play. Like we go and play shows all around the area. We've played in Winston, Asheville, down in Gastonia, Charlotte, and we don't play Christian shows at all. We just play regular shows with other bands. But it ended up that we were starting to really kind of get to know some of the other bands and trying to really just show them kind of how we live and just that we care about them. And so basically off of that, as I learned about these other charities, because one of the things when I was starting the event was I don't want to just do an event just to have an event. I want to actually try to help people. And so as I learned about these outreach groups and the recovery thing, and just addiction's so bad right now. And so that was why I was like, okay, I just want to find the groups that are doing really great stuff with that.
Yeah.
And as I learned about them, and then back in the first year, we were actually involved with another group called Freedom Life. And what they do is actually help people coming out of incarceration and getting reacclimated into society, and it's a Christian group too. And one of the guys involved with our band went through that program.
Yeah.
And so that just was a coincidence that we found out about, and so it just kind of led to seeing what else we can do.
Yeah, I definitely think, like you said, you were going and playing shows that like weren't really marketed as Christian shows, and I think that is kind of one of the biggest ways that you can make an impact is just existing as you are, and then showing people, oh, like this is just how I live, and I'm just like you, and I can help you, and like we're in this life together. So that's really a great thing that you're doing. And as someone my family has a history of addiction, it really, you cannot have enough support and enough people showing up for you.
Yeah, and it's really cool, like what we do is the way we've been doing it last year and this year and even the first year as well, is actually one of the charities is actually the partner charity.
Yeah.
And when the reason I have a partner charity is because I don't have a nonprofit. And so since we basically give away all the ticket revenue to these charities like you were talking about, in order to pay for the premiere and to have it at a place like this and for the bands, we get donations.
Yeah.
And so the donations, I didn't want people to write me a check, so they write the check to the partner charity. So all the money goes through the partner charity, and then that's who pays for the premiere and pays the bands. They keep a separate ledger of all the donation money.
So on the topic of donations, if there is someone who's listening or like sees whenever you announce or anything, wants to donate or have some sort of helping hand in putting this together, how could they do that?
Yeah, so we're going to have the site updated, and you can go to breakingdarkness.com. It's going to have the ticket link. It's going to have all the information about the bands, and then there'll be a link right there where they can donate online.
Okay. Are you guys looking for like volunteers and stuff as well?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
We need probably about 15 to 20 volunteers.
Yeah.
So we are looking for that too. There's an email link on their site too.
Awesome. So you hear that.
Or you can hit us up on social. We're on Instagram and Facebook, just those two. But
so in choosing the bands for the festival, what is that selection process look like for you, and what makes a good band for Breaking Darkness? What makes you go like, oh, that's someone who I think is going to really impact the crowd?
Yeah, so like for this year, and I think it was a little bit involved the last year's too, is like my thoughts are kind of trying to find some bands that are really kind of making a move now, especially far on the national scenes, that are really starting to really have a lot of momentum, have a lot of things going on with them, as well as trying to get a fair amount of local artists involved to try to keep a regional type thing, which we had quite a bit last year, and we have this year too. And then as well as that is what I'd kind of call like a legendary type band. And so that's kind of those three things are kind of the deciding factors. And a lot of it's all just curated by me talking to other artists and people who've played with shows like that. Because another important part of this show is it's really collaborative. And so like right here in the venue, all the merch tables and all the bands are right out in the open and interacting with the audience the entire day.
So in that rock and metal, we kind of were talking about how it's not super common in this part of the United States whenever it comes to Christianity. How do you balance the musical intensity of rock metal with spreading a faith-based message and outreach goals?
Well, the thing is to think about is like I think some people think of like worship, regular worship events. You know, like they had a big festival up in I think it was North Wilkesboro and places like that. That's not what this is about at all. So this is very intense, and all the artists are Christian, but if you know a typical person who might not be into this, if they saw some clips, they might be like, how in the world could that be Christian? But if you learn about what they're about, you'll see that it is. So for example, last year we had Cleansing of the Temple. They're a big band from South Carolina and Clemson. They tour all over the country actually, and like I said, similar to like I was talking about our band, most shows they do are not Christian shows at all. But when you listen to what they're about and what their lyrics are, if you can make it out, you'll see that they're 100%
in
for it. So that's basically what this is about. So it's really kind of more called heavy worship or aggressive worship than it is like what you might think of as like CCM is kind of like what you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, I like that name for it. Heavy, aggressive worship.
Yeah. And that's the movement. That's really what's happening.
Yeah, I think that's a really creative and fun way to get people in who might not have thought about going into something like this. If it was like your regular worship session and they come in just thinking they're going to a metal show and then they're like, oh, and you changed their life and
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know, if you're really into death metal and stuff like that, and you come to our show, you would love it.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm saying these bands play with a lot of the favorite death metal bands that are out there. So.
Yeah, yeah. What kind of response have you seen from the community and from your event, and how's it?
Well, I mean, we've had a really great response. I mean, we nearly sold out last year.
Yeah.
We were probably like 20 away from sellout. And so it's been really incredible. I expect, you know, a similar thing this year. I mean, it's really not in my hands, it's in the Lord's hands. So we're just going to let him do what he's going to do. But the kind of thing I'm thinking of is like, we're trying to put rocket fuel on a burning fire.
Yeah.
You know, and this is already something that's burning and going on. You know, you have got bands, even in North Carolina. I was trying to get some of them on the show, but they're not. But doing this kind of thing, and so it could go anywhere. We'll just see where it goes. You know, it's not in my hands.
Yeah. As far as like community connection and stuff goes, talk to me a little bit about like maybe some of the life-changing things that you saw at this year's event and the one prior.
Yeah. So I mean, literally, we've had people, the artist in the show, take a little time out from the music and kind of explain some of their message of their story of what they've gone through. And then immediately after that, we've had 2, 3, 4 dozen people accept the Lord right there during the concert. So for example, last year, one of the top acts was Ignescent, which is a big touring act. And Jennifer's the lead singer of that. And so she gave her testimony, and right afterward, I saw several people over at her merch table just coming and praying with her and her husband right there.
Yeah, so they after the show or like during the show, they will pull like, people aside. That's really nice that they get to, like the people who are coming in here get to have that kind of up close and personal connection with the people who are making music that is changing their lives. And
I mean, that's what I said, like this show, and just because how the venue set here, you know, I've told all the bands, like, you're not going to hide out backstage.
Yeah.
You're going to be in the open.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point.
Yeah.
I don't want you back there.
Yeah.
You know, I want you interacting with the audience and talking to them. And so most of them, even during their shows, they were like, hey, my merch table's right there. If you want to come talk, we'll be right there. You know, come meet me.
Yeah, that's really great. And that's definitely something that we also just promote here in general, being such a like intimate venue, is being able to meet the artists, because music is very emotional, and like whether it's your festival or some other show, like it is such a life-changing thing that brings you so close to people. So it is really nice that you're forcing them out from backstage out here. So what kind of message are you hoping that people who attend walk away with?
You know, I'm hoping that they get the idea that, you know, in today's world, you can be the thermostat. You don't have to be the thermometer.
Yeah.
You know, you can actually change what's happening in your life. Yeah. You can change what's happening in other people's lives, and you can make it a positive thing. You don't have to just sit there and go on and do what the world's telling you to do. You know, that's kind of the thing.
I definitely think it does feel overwhelming when you think about like trying to change the world and stuff, but it really is just like one interaction with one person having like a ripple effect that makes all the difference in the end. Yeah,
you know, and like Greg Laurie, as pastor once said, you know, it says in the Bible to go out into the world and spread the message of the gospel, but he's like, you know, that can be daunting if you think about it.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily think of it more like going into your world.
Yeah.
And so in this case, you know, that's the way I look at it. Like I'm going into this world of metal and rock that I kind of know some of these people, and I'm getting to know more and more.
Yeah.
And just trying to make a difference through that, you know.
So how do you see this evolving in the next couple of years? You've already had so much success with just like changing lives and expanding from your original location to here and selling out in your second year. what do you see for the future as far as this festival goes so far?
I don't know. Like I said, it's not really under my control.
Yeah.
You know, I leave it in the Lord's control to just to kind of let it go where it needs to go. You know, if it goes to a bigger setup, then that's where it'll go.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I definitely have found some of the best things in life happen when you just like let go of control of it and let it happen the way that it was meant to happen. So as far as like organizing this, how challenging is it to like organize a charity-oriented festival like this, and what are some of the unexpected hurdles you've kind of run into with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a challenge. I would say the biggest hurdle for us is just getting the donations, like I said, because you know, a lot of people think of like, oh well, you sold all those tickets, if you can pay all these people, but we're giving away all the ticket money, so that's not even in the equation. And so really it's just going out to people who have a heart for what this is about and just saying, hey, you know, would you like to be part of this? And we're going to add some new things this year in addition to the donation that people can help out. So we're actually going to have it where you can buy an advanced purchase, so you can come in a little bit early. And so that money will be used for the event. We're going to sell some t-shirts online, and we're going to have like a souvenir lanyard and some stuff like that. And so all that money will be used to help fund the concert.
On a personal level, what does this festival mean to you? And what experiences have you had while doing this that are driving you to keep going?
Just hearing people come up, you know, and said, hey, you know, I was there last year and I can't believe where this is happening. I can't believe that these artists are here. You know, I love this. And the other thing too is a big part of what we're about is like really collaborative. And so what's happened a lot is like people would watch one of the earlier bands, and then next thing you know, when the later band's playing, that earlier band's singer is on stage with that band and vice versa. And so a lot of that happened where people were like, whoa, I love seeing so-and-so. And then I couldn't believe that they got on stage with this artist. And so I expect a lot of that will happen again.
Yeah. So what does all of this mean to you then? What does this festival mean? Like, outside of just the lives changing, like inside, what does it mean to you?
Well, I mean, to me, it's just great. It's fun. You know, it's kind of a new thing that's, I think, is actually happening in other places, but a lot of people don't realize it. And just giving it a venue and a possibility to happen here. You know, there's no reason.
Well, I'm definitely sure that there's people who have attended that see this and go out and they're like, we should do this at home too. So I'm sure it's definitely having like that sort of ripple effect.
Yeah, and there's actually some other folks that we're working to partner with who've done events kind of like this over in Asheville area and some areas like that. And so we're working to join forces with them to help put it together more too.
If it was to turn into like something that was like Breaking Darkness in North Carolina, Breaking Darkness in Kansas, would you be open to having something that big?
Oh, you never know. Yeah, sure. I mean,
even a travel tour, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? You know, like I said, just go wherever you go. You know, we're kind of aligned with I don't know if you're familiar with the Whosoevers. That's the hat I'm wearing. So that's the group that was started by Sonny Sandoval from POD, and then Brian Head from Korn. You know, and so a lot of that is just going out into the world and just doing the thing, and not really worrying about, you know, is it okay? Just doing it, you know, and basically letting people know that, you know, there's a different way and a different life for you. And like a lot of people think like, oh, if I become a believer, then I can't do this and then I can't do that. But you're actually chained up by the world, and it's freedom that comes from faith, really.
Yeah. With that, people who are listening to the podcast, what do you want them to know about the festival, whether they're believers, seekers, music fans, or just curious about the whole entire thing?
I mean, the main thing to know is that if you want to come, you better get your ticket.
Yeah.
Because I fully expected to sell out fairly quickly. Yeah. And the other thing too, it's going to be kind of cool, is we're going to have some surprise things happening with this event. And so we're going to have some, like, for example, I can tell you one of them, which is the first 200 people in the door get a special gift. So if you come in early, you got to come in early.
You need your VIP tickets to get in early, and you got to get your tickets fast, because as soon as they announce when it's happening, they're going to sell out.
Yep. We're gonna do a lot of different stuff too. Like we're gonna have 2 food trucks like we had last year.
Yeah.
And so the cool thing is like when you come here, you don't have to worry about, oh, I need to eat, it's lunch, dinner, everything will be right here. They're gonna have a bunch of different kinds of drinks. I'm kind of working with Peter on that, just some cool different themed drinks that I want to do that you can buy.
Yeah.
And like our event is non-alcoholic, but like I was saying, like kind of like how you guys have those mocktails.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of ways to do some cool names for that.
Yeah. You did have a lot of, you said you did food trucks and drinks this year. You also had a lot of, I guess sponsors might be what you call them.
Yeah, I mean, really, the people who are involved are donors is probably the better way. I mean, they're in a way, they're a sponsor, but it's not so much like, hey, here's our big sign, and that means more people are going to call us.
Yeah.
It's more like we're aligning ourselves with this event and what they're trying to do, the mission of the event. Because, like I said, it's kind of 2 parts to the event. And, one part of it is we're trying to raise money for these charities, but another part of it is we're trying to bring people in who are never going to step foot in a church.
Yeah.
And if I had this same concert with the same artist in a church, a ton of those people wouldn't come.
Yeah. As far as local bands and like lesser known artists that have heard about this, and want to be a part of it and maybe even play, or we talked about how to donate or volunteer, but how would they get involved if they wanted to?
Yeah, the band wants to reach out to me and thinks that they can align with what this is about. They can go on breakingdarkness.com or on our socials and just hit me a DM or something like that. I ended up finding, I think it was through, what's his name? I forget the other podcast that I was listening to, but that's how I actually found one of the bands that's going to be in this, which is Splitcast, which is actually a band that's been around a long time ago. And they just kind of reconfigured themselves, so to speak.
Yeah.
They were kind of like doing family life and all that kind of stuff. And so in the festival for 2026, we're going to have like the first half, it's going to be really eclectic, kind of different artists. So it's going to be like pop punk, hip hop, like kind of pop metal, I call it. And then industrial kind of music, like almost like Trent Reznor kind of style.
Okay.
And then the second half is just going to be super, super heavy, like new metal, alt metal, like really, really heavy rock, and then just super, super heavy metalcore.
Okay.
And so anyway, the local band I was talking about, Splitcast, they're actually from over in Statesville.
Okay. Yeah,
And
they're
so,
real close.
Yep. And so I got in touch with them, and I just happened to see them on this podcast. It was by, I'm gonna have to edit this, but it was with, what's his name? With Dear Cavalier, the guy with Dear Cavalier.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's he do the other festival that we have here?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Evolution Summerfest.
Evolution Summerfest.
Yes.
Yep. So he had a podcast where he interviews different local bands, whatever.
Yeah.
He's interviewing this band, and they mentioned the faith-based part of their their thing is, and he had known him from a long time. I think he was originally from Statesville or something like that. I'm not sure, or just been around that area. And then I'm like, what's this band Splitcast? I've never heard of them. And so I go look up online, and they had just released a bunch of new music, and it was incredible. It's like Blink-182 and that kind of vibe, and it's just really, really great. And so I reached out to them and I said, I gotta have you guys in it.
Yeah, it is really awesome, kind of the connections that you get. Like once you meet one person in the industry, you start meeting all the people in the industry, and like just like all the versatility of all the local bands that we have at our disposal that like we don't even know about. And you just meet one person, and then you meet another band that's like, hey, I've been here forever, and you're like, wow, oh my gosh, like you saw that.
Yeah.
I could use you guys.
Yeah, well, like I said, they had been doing it. I think how their active years was like 2008 to 2011 or 12 or something like that. And then they kind of stopped, and then just maybe a year or two ago, they just kind of, this guy Greg, he wanted to really get it going again and started writing music. They got signed to a label and everything, and so it was just kind of a lucky coincidence, which is similar to like how I met Billy James, actually. So Billy James is a hip hop artist, him, and he's going to be in the show. Last year he was the host, and what happened there was I was actually going around to different networking kind of meetups that I was doing, a lot of it with the different chambers of commerce and stuff like that, to try to get donors.
Yeah.
And when I'm talking to a lady about it who was at the meeting, I showed her everything about the festival, and she goes, "Oh, well, you must know Billy James." I was like, "No," and she goes, "Oh, yeah, I think he knows all about your event." And so next thing you know, and at that time the lineup was full, but I needed a host.
Yeah.
So it worked out perfect.
That's great. Yeah. So something that I like to ask everybody who's on the podcast, with us being such an intimate venue, our goal kind of here is to have people fall in love with music again.
Right.
So what made you fall in love with music?
Wow. I don't know. I've been doing it for a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
as far as being a fan, I guess I'd say. I mean, I was never really a super ultra musician about it. I just kind of played around when I was younger. But especially, you know, because I kind of came through the whole punk world, like basically 2 genres of punk, basically, and just super involved in that. Back in the day, I worked for this magazine, and we had like a different little music section of the magazine, and I knew a lot of people involved with that and some promotional companies in California. So I used to go out and do stuff. It was actually, the magazine was a sports magazine, but we used to go and kind of mix up music in the magazine, and so I got to meet tons of people on the Warped Tour and all that kind of stuff. So I was just doing that for a long time.
And if anybody is interested in finding anything out about the Breaking Darkness Festival, or when you announce, where can they find you on social media?
Yep, so they can go onto Facebook, Breaking Darkness Music Fest is on there. They can also go on Instagram, and I'd have to look the exact thing here, I'll see.
So as far as the festival or yourself goes, is there anything that you want anybody to know about yourself, the festival, your band, just anything in general?
Basically, I'd want them to know that this is going to be a super, super stacked lineup, and you definitely don't want to hesitate to get your tickets. So, for example, I can run through the lineup. I'm happy to announce it here.
Yep.
So this will be one of the first times people hear about it. So we have Split Cast. They're going to start the show. They're a pop punk band from right in this area. And then Autumn Eve, she's a hard rock artist from Tennessee. And my band, Counter. Billy James is a hip hop artist from right down the road here in Valdez. Matt Sassano, he's a industrial kind of rock artist. He's coming from Tennessee. Tricord is the new metal band. They were actually one of the few bands that was in last year, and they're going to be repeating. They're coming up from Georgia, and then 13 Minutes is an alt metal band that is pretty well known around the country. They're coming from Oklahoma. And Relentless Flood is actually another heavy rock band that is from this area, so just like an hour away. So that's another one of the kind of regional bands. And they're kind of a legendary type band. And then our headliner is War of Ages, and so they're huge.
All right,
and
exciting.
They will be super heavy.
You got the inside scoop first. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Giving us some insight on this amazing festival that you're putting on. As far as we go, you can find us at hickorypremiere.com for any of our upcoming shows. This week we'll be having our New Year's Eve DJ celebration, so come celebrate with us. And you heard the announcement here first. Go get your tickets before they sell out at BreakingDarknessFestival.com?
BreakingDarkness.com.
BreakingDarkness.com. But that is all for this week, and we'll see you guys eventually, some Monday.